nature show in the known universe. Saturdays at noon for Bird Talk on KDMT, presented by Wild Birds Unlimited. Until then, happy birding.
Revolutionizing the way people treat people in business. The Experience Pros, America's home for positive business talk.
Welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Thank you for tuning in. Eric Kramer and Angela Tassi helping you get your business right.
We are so excited to bring you positive business talk every single day. Something you can count on and depend on, fresh and new every single day.
Absolutely.
One of the fabulous, fresh and new things that we do or have done, and I know it's a little bit old, is we wrote the book called Lists That Save My Business.
Yeah.
This, I was just looking at it today,
right?
As I was preparing for something else, flipping through it and realize what a great resource this is just to have sitting on your desk for those quick go-tos to either reconnect with clients, create a little extra buzz.
Sure.
If you ever find yourself sitting at your desk or sitting with your team, kind of scratching your head going, what should we do? How can we connect? Or how do we have a bigger presence in the community?
It's a great resource for just that. And one of the things that we talk about in that is identifying your target market or your ideal client. And we posted in the Facebook Live video of this, the comment or the subject line of who's your ideal or target audience. And then I ask, is it really?
Ooh.
Because what we've discovered in our practices, we talk to so many different business owners, is they immediately come up with a response. Well, my target audience is anybody who writes a paycheck. My target audience is anybody who will come in and buy my service. Or my target is anybody who can fog a mirror. For chiropractors, anybody with a spine. For plumbers, anybody with a toilet. And no, it's not exactly that easy. And when you start to break this thing down, Angel, the first time you and I went through the exercise of identifying our target market, I think it took 6 hours. It was a back and forth conversation.
It was far more complicated than you would think, and a lot of times we think, well, small to medium sized business, we have these, really loose, vague descriptors of who our audience is. But here's the goal. When you describe your target audience to somebody, if they don't have an immediate, or even if you don't have an immediate picture of who that is, then you're missing out on who your target audience is.
Yeah.
When we say anybody will fog a mirror, okay, well, who is that? Well, anybody, but who?
It's too general. And because it's too general, you're going to get generalized results, which are diminished results. And when what you're really looking for is a laser focus.
So if you have anybody who has a spine or anybody with a toilet, where do you advertise? What trade associations do you sign up for? What networking groups do you participate in?
Lest you say all of them, because who are you that can be in all those places all at once? You got to really
right. And
have
you ever been introduced to somebody and you ask them what they do? And they have 6 different businesses that they do.
Oh, yeah.
Or you see the business card and on, and it's a postcard size and it lists, 20 different things. And then it says, and much, much more.
Right.
We think by adding more, by being more and blanketing, all sorts of different demographics that we're actually bringing in more clients. But really what we're doing is losing more marketing potential because we've sprayed and prayed instead of sniper rifled.
Very well said.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk about how to dial in that target market. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Ask yourself, who do you help the most? Secondarily, how do you help them? You ask those 2 questions and you start to see a pattern.
Right.
That develops.
It does start to develop. And, when we think about who do you help the most, go into your current database. People have already done business with you. And let's start to define it. Let's start to separate it out. Who were your favorite clients to work with? Who were the ones that showed up on time, that paid on time? Who are the clients that refer you a lot of business or refer business to you?
Right.
Those are your ideal clients. Not everybody that you've ever done business with doesn't always fit into an ideal client base. But when you start to look at who your favorites are, the people that you really serve the most, that get the most out of what you have to offer. So for example, chiropractor, instead of saying I work with anybody who has a spine, because yes, of course they can work with anybody who has a spine.
Sure.
What if we define it and say, my expertise is working with competitive cyclists?
Oh, now you're dealing with a very niche market. And you say, well, what about all the other people who have spines? You'll still be able to take the walk-ins and whatnot. But if you're looking for a place to start your marketing, if you're looking for a place to start your presence, your networking, you want to hang out with professional cyclists because they're the ones you love the most. Why? Because you're probably an amateur professional cyclist.
And you know somebody, right? When you meet somebody that is a cyclist and they're complaining, you know exactly who to refer them to.
Absolutely.
And so when we talk about our ideal client, this is also the piece that differentiates us from everybody else in the pack as well, because now we are an expert in this one category. Now, does it mean that you don't do business with anybody else?
Of course not.
No. You're going to take care of their families. You're going to take care of their volunteers. You're going to take care of the people that sponsor them. Everybody else is also welcome. And so the welcome mat is still out there.
Sure.
But you get to define your website, and all the pieces in your website cater to your ideal target audience. When you think about social media and the posts that you're sharing, when you think about where you're going to put your marketing dollars, you're going to make sure that you put them in front of the right audience.
Right.
One of the things with the Experience Pros radio show, when you talk about who is your audience, if your audience is business owners, the Experience Pros radio show is laser focused on talking to your ideal audience. But if your focus is on soccer moms, this probably isn't the program for them.
Exactly.
Right. So knowing who your target audience is helps you define all of your resources and narrow that down into one beautiful, perfectly pitched package that when I see that, I'm like, that's me, or that's somebody I know.
All right. Listen, folks, if you are interested in a longer conversation about that very topic, go check out Amazon.com and pick up a copy of Lists That Saved My Life. That's Lists That Saved My Business. You can get both, because both of them were written by Angel. But Lists That Saved My Business is the book that talks about identifying your target market and then bringing it down to a laser focus. You'll get great results. We promise that. All right. Time to go for today, but we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you for tuning into this, the home of positive business talk. Angel Tassi and Eric Kramer, thanking you for being a part of the revolution in how people treat people in business. See you tomorrow.
You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio.